To start off making bread, what I do is I put hot water in my KitchenAid mixer just so it'll warm it up a bit. And then the yeast I use is Fleischmann's Traditional, and where's it? Here it says 2 1/4 equals 1 package. And the recipe calls for 2 packages. So I'm going to do 4 and then 2/8. So yeah, hang on one second. Okay, so in here I've got 1 1/2 cups of water. And I am going to put my yeast in. So first off, I do 2 of the 1/4. And I just kind of level it out. So 2 of those, and then I'm going to do 4 of the 1 teaspoons. 1. Kind of hard to do this one-handed. 2, 3, and 4. Now what I will do is I will stir this up, and then I'm going to put it in a warm place to kind of sit and activate. So basically I just get a spoon and then I kind of mix it all together and make sure I don't have any lumps. And then I stick it on my kitchen counter that's close to a heat register to get it warm. Okay, we'll move on to step 2 now. Okay, so in a small saucepan, I have 3 tablespoons of margarine. You can use butter as well. I just use margarine. And then a 1/2 cup of milk. Then we use, sorry, I'm trying to do this one-handed, so I'm a little wobbly, sorry. Okay, so next I'm taking 3 tablespoons of sugar. So 1 and 2 and 3. Then 2. Okay, and then next step I put in 2 teaspoons of salt. I've already put 1 in, and there's 2. And then I will turn usually medium heat until the margarine is melted. Okay, so the butter mixture is starting to boil, so everything's melted, sugar is melted, and so is some margarine. So I'm going to take it off the heat and turn off the stove. And then while I was waiting for that, what I did is I greased a medium bowl, and then I also got my 2 loaf pans ready. And I also got my flour ready. So I have 4 cups and 2 cups, so a total of 6. Recipe calls for 5 to 6, but I always get 6 ready just in case. And this is the flour I use, Robin Hood Best for Bread. Okay, and then this is my yeast, and it's looking good. It's starting to bubble up. So I'm just gonna wait a few minutes for the butter mixture to cool a little bit, and then we'll start making bread. Okay, so it seems like it's cooled enough. So now what I'm gonna do is I've attached my bowl to my mixer. We're just gonna dump this in. Then I'm gonna attach my dough hook to the mixer. kind of hard to do it one-handed. Hang on one sec. Okay, dough hook is attached. Put it down, lock it in place, and then I'm gonna grab my 4 cups of flour and pour it in. Actually, it's probably easier to pour it in with it up. And there we go. Pour it in, put it down, and then I turn it to stir for the moment, just to let it mix up. And while it's mixing, I grab my other 2 cups and get it ready. And then I put on the guard because I'm messy. So, then I'll turn it to number 2 once it's kind of mixed up more, and then I'm going to slowly pour in more flour. So I usually get to like 5 cups, and then I will see how the dough's doing from there. Now with this recipe, you can also use whole wheat flour if you choose to, or you can also add seeds and stuff. If you do add like pumpkin seeds or flax seeds, those kind of things, you would use less flour. You kind of have to judge the consistency of the dough. So, because you want it not too dry. Get you in there, take a look a little bit. Okay, hang on one sec. Now sometimes what I'll do is I will stop it. I'll take off this, and then I will pull it up, and then see how it's gotten right up on my dough hook. I'll put my hand in flour, and then I will slowly bring it down and then plop the ball back into the bowl. Okay, one second. Okay, so that's what I do. I kind of get it back in the bowl, then I go back down, lock it in place, and then turn it to 2 again. I just don't like it going up into the machine, and then this way it gets mixed more. And then I'm just going to put a little more in there, and then I wait until it's picked up everything in the bowl. Okay, as you can tell, everything's kind of picked off the bowl. I have no loose crumbs down there. It'll go. And then it's on the ball, or on the hook. So I will remove this, and we'll be right back. Okay, so I've taken out my dough hook. I got everything in the bowl. So now what I'm gonna do is transfer this dough into my greased bowl. Okay, one moment. Okay, so I have my dough transferred to my greased bowl. When you do it, make sure you put flour on your hands so it won't stick. And then I'm gonna take a clean tea towel and put it over my bowl, and I will let this rest for an hour. Okay, so we'll see you back in an hour. Okay, so bread has risen for an hour. So look at this. Okay, so this is what the bread looks like after it's been rising for an hour. I've got my rolling pin ready and the remaining of the flour. So I just kind of sprinkle it liberally on my table. Then you get to punch it. So I punch it once and let it deflate, and now what I'll do is split this in half. Okay, so half I put back in the bowl, and then half I put on my table. Okay, so I'm going to roll this out. One sec. Okay, so what I do is, I'll back up a little bit. So I kind of roll it out into an oblong shape, and then I will start rolling it. And then I pinch the one end, I'll turn it over, and then I pull each end over like so, and then I can do it one-handed. I put it into my greased bread pan. Okay, so let me do the other one in one sec. Okay, so I have them both rolled out and into my bread pan. So I take my tea towel, the clean one that I used earlier, and I will let this sit for an hour. I kind of put it on the edge of my table because I have a heat register down there, and I've got the heat going, and yeah, to kind of help it raise. Okay, so we'll see you in an hour. So it's been an hour, and look how they rose. So one rose bigger than the other, but that's okay. So I'm going to put them in the oven now, and I've got it set for 375. The recipe does call for 400, but my oven runs hot, so I do it at 375, and I do it for 30 minutes. So hang on one sec. Okay, so they're in the oven now. Okay, so setting it for 30 minutes. Now, just a thing, if you do what you could do, if you want to do like one loaf of bread and one loaf of buns, what I do is I will do one loaf of like bread and then one thing of buns. I cook the buns for 30 minutes or 20 minutes at 375, and then I leave the bread in for 30 minutes. So if you want to split your loaf up that way, you can do that. Okay, so I will be back shortly. Okay, bread is out of the oven. Look at these babies. Don't they look good? Okay, so now what I do, I just take a sandwich bag, and I dip it in some butter, and then I kind of rub the top of them. Be really careful because they're freaking hot. So when I just do both, and there you have it. You have bread. On a side note, I actually did change the temperature of the oven to 350 just because my oven actually runs a little hot, but I still did it for 30 minutes. Okay, if you have any questions or whatever, just let me know down below in the comments section. And yeah, happy baking. Bye.